Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining. Welcome to the live stream. Sunday fun day. It's like 6 o'clock in the morning here in Sri Lanka. It is nighttime in North America. Saturday night. Okay, so that sounds good. Excellent. Thank you again, everyone, for joining. I hope you're having a wonderful, wonderful day. I didn't. I'll be honest. My God, there is a dog 2 or 3 houses over that all it does is howl all night. Someone has gotten a dog or something like that, and the dog howls because it's being left alone from 10:30 till 2 in the morning. Every few moments, the dog will just, it's doing it now. So it's not loud, but you can hear it, and it hits you in the heart because you know exactly what you're hearing. You're hearing a dog that's being left alone outside and doesn't want to be. And I don't understand people. And this is what annoys me about human beings. Technically, I hate all human beings, but except for you guys. I was going to talk about this. It's like how when you get older, you don't like making friends because it's just so stressful. You don't know if they're crazy or not. But like we have here, this is kind of like a filter because you know me. You understand my ideals, my values, and everything like that because I lay bare right now. I mean, there's some things I don't talk about because it's not the time or the place. Politics, religion, personal opinions. I have personal opinions. I kind of share them, but not all the time. And how I get to know you guys is that through your comments. Now, you're not going to watch and comment on my material if we're not like-minded. I'm not asking you to agree with everything. I'm asking you to comment like a human being. And that's why I made friends with several of my viewers. And I've met several of my viewers, and we've become good friends. And someone asked me, what is this that I'm doing? This is like I don't know if you guys know what Vicks Vapor Rub is. It's that really menthol thing you put on your chest in the little blue bottle. It's like mentholatum. You put it on your chest when you're young and sick, and it breathes into your body, and it's really, really strong not medicinal smell, but like a eucalyptus mint flavor. And this is a liquid, and and I got it in Thailand, and they're just so addictive. Sort of like nasal spray, but not. Nasal spray has a kind of like a steroid and it constricts the blood flow. This expands the nostrils and helps you breathe because I have adenoids and I don't know what's going on up there, but it's always blocked. There goes the dog again. 6 o'clock in the morning. And so I don't know who doesn't hear this. So number one, they don't care. And that brings up a whole other thing. Like, you don't care that your dog is barking right outside your window. Why did you get a dog if you put the dog outside and it doesn't want to be outside? Like, why would you do that? Number two, they've left the house. They're not there. Why would you leave your dog outside? Like, why would you get a dog if you can't be with the dog for hours and hours and hours? That's just not fair to the animal. And that's why I hate people. They're not considerate. There's no self-awareness anymore in the world, and it's very sad. Lady Sarah always says that one of the things she loves about me is that I have no social fear. When we go on vacation, she says she loves it about me, but she hates it. And is that I will literally go up and talk to anyone at any time and just say hi and ask them about how they're enjoying their time. You know, and she goes, that's very unique. For someone who talks about himself all the time online, when I meet people, I'm more interested in them. I'm more interested in what they have to say, what they think, and what I can learn from them. So I'm just resetting the camera here. I need to figure out what I'm going to do with my camera. I can't really do anything. It has to stay there. There's no other place for it. Anyway, so these people who have this dog, I don't know if it's the first time. I don't think it's the first time. I think I've heard it before and I just don't remember, but it's kept me awake. I tried to go to bed early last night because I had to get up early today for class and then for the live stream. But that's the thing I've been trying to do for my health as well. One of the important things about your health is you need to get that 8 hours of sleep. Good morning. Sorry, good. But it should be 11 a.m., almost lunchtime for you, Darren. Thank you very much for joining. I always appreciate having you online. And I was just mentioning earlier how I don't like making new friends, but making friends with people like you is one of the reasons why I started the YouTube channel, is to build a community of people who are, I don't know what the word is. I don't want to say like-minded. I want to say people who are interested in sharing, okay, without judging. You know, you're wrong, you're not right, you're stupid. I'm not interested in negativity. I would like your opinion if I'm doing something incorrectly or if I'm going down a path where I'm going to fail. I mean, share your opinion, but don't belittle. And that's where you and I and everyone else who's joined the channel, who I'm friends with, are friends. I consider you friends. You know, I call us brothers and sisters and family, and you know, it's all bull crap when it comes down to it at the end of the day. You know, I'm not going to get on a plane and fly over to help you. I mean, if you needed it, I would. But it's more about this like community idea. That's what I like. And when people are considerate to each other, that's what I respect. And that's what I was saying. Lady Sarah says that you're considerate about your fellow human being. You think about how others are feeling, and you do your best to try to make them feel better. And there goes the dog again. It was howling in loneliness. That's the sound. Because I've had dogs, so I know exactly what that sound is. It's not pain, it's loneliness. The dog is being left alone. It's not barking, it's howling. Anyway, it's very, very sad, and it just tears into my heart and then makes me angry. But what can you do? There's nothing you can do. There's no really animal control here, and the police won't do anything. Anyway. Speaking of the police not doing anything and the government not doing anything, one of the sad things about living in a developing nation, and this is just my opinion from my observations. I'm not blaming any particular country or politician or society or people. Just saying that this is my opinion from my observations. And Gordy, you're a perfect example. Like, you're showing me a lot, right? Gordy is one of my newer subscribers. Really, really great guy from Canada, from my old area, from Toronto, and really passionate about his opinions of what's going on, and joining the channel because he wants inspiration to make his life better. One of the things about leaving the West is that life in Southeast Asia, when it comes to the value, I want to say this right, the value of human life. Whereas in the West, there are ideals. In South Asia, politicians and police and people in power may say, but from a personal level, from what I've seen, it's not so much. No. There's a strong belief in the family, but beyond that, people don't really care about each other. It's sad. For example, in Sri Lanka, there is a serious road traffic problem, road death problem. And because it doesn't affect the powerful elite or the rich, it's ignored by the government. A couple days ago, a bus in Ella, in the mountains, had brake failure. The brakes failed, it went over the edge, and 15 people died. And now the government is vowing to make changes. I'm like, do 15 people have to die for the changes to be made? Everybody knows that the buses are unsafe, that they drive too fast, that they break the law, but nobody does anything. Now, why is that? Well, I can look at several reasons. Are they true or not true? I don't know. I'm not a police officer. I'm not a politician. Could it be ignorance, complacency? Could it be about money? Could it be about power? Could it be criminal? Could be anything. But because the police don't investigate, prosecute, or enforce the law, and because the politicians and the ministries that license and regulate don't enforce those licenses and regulations, that bus, which was, according to the news, decommissioned 3 years ago, and the brakes failed, was allowed to drive. And the people who are the poorest of the poor have no choice but to take those buses. They have no other way to move around the country. Will it change anything? Absolutely not. Is it only in poor countries? Absolutely not. Look at what happened in South Korea. I lived there for 18 years. And in that time, there were several tragedies where hundreds of people died. And right off the top of my head, I can think of the Sewol ferry, where hundreds of children died. Most of them from one high school. 380 people died, drowned in a ferry boat. And it caused the topple of a government, an impeachment of a president, because of safety regulations. Back in the 80s, an entire department store collapsed because the regulations were not followed. And cost cutting, the owners wanted more floor space, so they cut beams, and the government never inspected or did, and just let it slide. The building collapsed, killing 500 people. That was in the 80s. Then you had, at a K-pop concert, people were standing on, when you have the subway and there's those steel grates over like an exhaust port on the sidewalk to allow venting of air. So people were standing on something like that, and it collapsed, and dozens of people died. And then we have the Itaewon crush, the Halloween crush, crowd crush, 2 or 3 years ago. And it wasn't because it was overcrowded or because the road was built wrong or anything like that. No, it was because some politician didn't want to be associated with a pagan festival and decided to not send police in force for crowd control, because it would seem like they were supporting and sponsoring it, or they said there was no organizer, and it's like, so they couldn't coordinate. You don't need coordination with an organizer. You put police and you enforce it. You did it many years before, and no one was arrested, no one was convicted, and 150 people died, crushed to death. The sister of someone I know, and they were all young people. So that makes me angry, because I know it was very personal for me, because I know that street. I've stood on that spot for 10 years. My friend's club used to be right there where it happened. So I know that street. I know how kind of unsafe it is. And if I know it, then the police know it. The local police, who happen to be right across the road from that spot. So it gets me so angry. The indifference to human life from government officials, from police, from our politicians, and it filters down to the people. Because if the police and the government don't care about us, the people obviously don't care about each other. And then, it comes upon us to have to take care of each other. So that's why I want this to be more about us taking care of each other. Helping each other in our own little world, so we can carve out a slice of happiness, because we're not going to change the world. First of all, we're too old. Is it the fatalist opinion? I don't know. Like, I've given up on trying to change the world. So, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you guys can keep trying for your families and your children. I don't have anyone, so I'm a little bit different. So that's what I'm trying to do here, is to try to give you guys some advice to not make mistakes. And then maybe if you want to do what I do and carve out your own piece of happiness, so that the last part of your life, there's 3 stages to life. There's childhood, there's a young adult, 18 to 40-ish, 45, and then there's senior, which is 50 to the end of life. And I consider this my second adulthood, in that after my divorce, which is now, this week is 20 years, I started that last part of my life over again. I had 2 adulthoods. Sorry, I'm going to say I had 2 stage 2s, from 18 to 30, and then from 30 to 50. I was fortunate enough to be able to reset my second stage, because the first time I did it wrong. The second time I did it, when I left Canada and moved to Korea and lived in Korea at the age of 38, was the best move I ever made. I've said it before, I'll say it again. If I had stayed in Canada, if I had had kids, I would have been dead by now. I would have died of a heart attack a long time ago. I'd have died of a heart attack 10 years ago. Guaranteed I would have died. There's no way I would have survived. Not with the stress levels I had back then, not with my health back then, and not with the current situation in North America today. There's just no way. Gordy was telling me about the cost of living, and I read the news on salaries and taxes and stuff like that. It's just ridiculous. Yeah, Darren, the bus was deregistered a couple of years ago, and it's just awful. It's just someone got money, someone made money, and it costs a human life. And that's sad. And no one's going to pay for it. There's going to be some scapegoat, but the person who made the money is not going to. It's not going to pay. It comes down to corruption. It comes down to money. Now, nobody took money to say, okay, I'm going to kill a human being by doing this. It's just, it happens every day. It's not just one bus, it's hundreds of them. It's not just one thing, it's hundreds of things. It's roads, it's everything. It's infrastructure, it's everything. I mean, I was just watching the news in the Philippines. They paid millions of dollars for a flood control project to be completed, and the president went out there to look at it, and there's nothing there. And he's saying he's losing his mind. He said he's so angry. He says he cannot believe what's going on. Where is this thing and that our government that I signed for? Where is it? I say it as a joke, but I don't like to get angry or upset about things I have no control over, or things that don't really affect me, or I don't allow to affect me. Right? I mean, it does affect society, but it personally doesn't really affect me because I have money and I can afford to not have to resort to doing or using things that could cost me my life. I'm not going to fly an airline that I don't trust just because they're cheaper. I fly the more expensive airline because I trust their quality. I'm flying Singapore Airlines. I'm not going to fly the North Korean Airlines. But I don't have an opportunity to fly them. But what I'm saying, you understand what I'm saying? I don't have to take a city bus. I have a car. I'm going to have to spend upwards of $2,000 next year to get the ABS module replaced. Just to buy the part is going to cost me between $1,000 and $2,000. I'm still trying to figure out how I can get it from Dubai. So if anyone out there has anyone flying from Dubai to Sri Lanka, I will pay for you to carry the part. Okay, it's 2 kilos. It's about this big. Okay, the size of half a loaf of bread. Weighs 2 kilos. Perfectly legal to import. All the documents will be there. All the paperwork. All the taxes and duties will be paid for. You just have to carry it over. And there's customs papers included, everything perfectly legit, and it goes in your checked baggage under the plane, so there's no issue. Darren, Singapore Airlines, I'm booked 24 days till I go, and look at the smile on my face. I was angry. Darren, the problem is that it's for, let me see if it is available there. Let me see. I don't think it's available. I think it's only available in Indonesia and UAE because of the car model, the Toyota Avenza. The Toyota Avenza is not sold in Australia, but let me double check that and find out, okay? But I really appreciate that. Truly, truly appreciate it. But, I mean, worst case, I have to pay extra. I got to do it, because that's what I have to do. I can drive without it, but it'll compromise the safety of the car. And that's the most important thing, right? Anyway, I was angry a moment ago. I was not angry, but I was frustrated and disappointed. But now thinking of my vacation, look at this perma smile on my face. And I got some great news about the vacation. So first of all, it's 24 days. So 3 weeks. I've already pulled out the luggage. The luggage is sitting over here, right over there. So starting later this week, I'm going to start putting things. Yeah, let me look at what options are available. So again, I use ChatGTP to do this because it knows the part number and it searches online for that part number for sale. It's very, very, what I learned is that it's very model specific. The part has to fit the VIN number, right? So it's not anything that I can get from any country because the car is manufactured in Indonesia and you are left-hand drive. So it might, it might not be available in your country because the part is not needed for the vehicles that are sold in your country. Yeah, it might be the same part, but they are like this specific part, this module, this electronic ABS module is very specific to the model that is manufactured. So let me look into it and I'll get back to you. But thinking about vacation just makes me just smile so much. So I'm going to be in Cebu. I always thought you guys were you drive on the right-hand drive. Yeah, the driver's on the right hand of the car, which means you drive on the left-hand side of the road, like England and Sri Lanka and Philippines or Thailand. I can't remember now. Yeah, Philippines drives on the, I'm going to say they drive on the left. I can't remember. It's been 3 years since I've been to the Philippines, so I forget. 2012? Listen, let me check with ChatGTP. Let me check online and see if the part is available in your country, and then we'll talk later about that. So anyway, getting ready for vacation. I'm ecstatic because I just got some great news yesterday. So every time I go on vacation, I always put it out there online to my friends. So my Facebook, I've reduced it down to, I kind of removed a lot of my Korean friends that I didn't know, who were just like club friends. So just to my close friends. And then like my high school friends and my family. My Instagram is just anybody who wants to join me on Instagram. Instagram is more of public. Facebook is more private. Facebook is more of like my personal digital diary of my daily thing. So every day it pops up like things that I did 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 17 years ago, 20 years ago. My Facebook started just after I divorced. I deleted my old Facebook and started a new one. What I should have done was just clean out my old pictures because I had one of the first million Facebook accounts. And because when I joined Facebook, you didn't get a name, you got a number, and it was the number that you joined. And my number was like 800,000. I remember that. And then they switched it and it became your name, right? And I remember joining Facebook when it was the Facebook. I was a big tech guy back then. I was an early adopter. I had Instagram, I had Twitter, I had Foursquare, I had all of the different services. I had Ask Jeeves, I had, all of these things. You guys who are older than the internet will remember those things. But my memories pop up. So up to like 18, 19 years ago, it's beautiful to see those memories pop up. Most of them are from my last year in Canada, and then everything after that is all Korea, which is just so much fun to go back and look on. So anyway, I post online on my Instagram, on my Facebook, and obviously here, and I'm going to Cebu. A female friend of mine who I haven't seen in like 6 years, who I then realized, oh yeah, you're Filipino. She reached out to me and said, when are you going to be in Cebu? And I'm like, yeah, I'll be there October till March. And she says, oh, I'll be there end of October with my boyfriend for a wedding. And I'm like, please let me know. Let's meet up for dinner. And I go, Tim's there. And she goes, yeah, I know he's there. He always sends me reels. And I said, it'll be like a mini reunion. So Lady Sarah's coming the first 2 weeks. My friend Anuj is coming from India, who I knew in Korea for 10 years. He even lived with me for a short period of time. Like we meet up every year in Thailand or whatever, wherever I happen to be, he pops up. He's an American. He lived in Korea for just as long as I did, but he left Korea a few years before me and went back home to India. He's an American Indian, and I'm a Canadian Sri Lankan. So we're basically the same. Divorced. He divorced a woman in Korea. So he's coming, and he'll cross over when Sarah's there, because he knows Sarah. So I said, come and, she'd love to see you. And he did the same thing. He was there the same time Sarah was in Pattaya as well. Then I'm trying to get Princess Jasmine to come, but she won't be able to make it. And now Laura said she's going to come at the end of October. So I'm hoping that more friends will come over the Christmas holidays, and then we have February, which is South Asian New Year. So hopefully some more friends will come. Lady Sarah obviously is coming back. We're going to try to get her to come for Christmas, but she's probably going to do family. She's probably going to go to the States to see her family. But those of you who watch How I Met Your Mother will remember is what Robin used to say on TV all the time, and they had a drinking game. Every time she said they would have a drink, a shot. But she was a news reporter. Anyway, every time I think about this vacation, huge smile on my face, because I'm going to see Lady Sarah. I'm going to meet my friends, and I love that. Anybody wants to meet up in Cebu over the next 6 months, just let me know. I'm just so excited. Next week, so I've already bought my Singapore Airlines. So Darren, when I was figuring out how to get to Cebu, there's no direct flight. So I have to fly to Manila or Hong Kong or Singapore. So I had my choice of Singapore Airlines, Cathay Pacific, or Sri Lankan Airlines. Now, all the prices were about the same, except for Sri Lankan Airlines was cheaper. And then I started looking online. I have websites that I use, seatguru.com. I have FlightAware. I have a lot of different apps that I use that show me the seats and the airplane, the actual plane. So Singapore Airlines has many different flights, and this is what you have to look for. There are, like, let's say there's, between whatever you're going, there's 3 or 4 different flights every day, depending on where you're going. Each one is a different kind of airplane, could be. And some planes are different from other planes. Some are better than the other, but you're paying about the same ticket price. And if you can go on a better plane for the same price, why not? So that's what I did. That's what I do. I focus on the seat, because if I'm flying on an airplane and I'm paying business class, I'm going to get the seat I want, and I want the herringbone. I want the seats that are like this, not like this. So angled or pods. I don't want the Sri Lankan Airlines style business class seats from 10 years ago. I want the new pod style upscale seats. So Cathay Pacific didn't have those. And was it Malaysian Airlines or someone else? Their idea of business class was taking the premium economy and leaving the middle seat empty. What the was that? There's no way. No way I'm sitting on an airplane like that. So I said no to that. And then Singapore Airlines, I've flown with them many times, from Sri Lanka to Korea and back. Sorry, from Korea to Sri Lanka via Singapore, and those are long haul flights. So it ended up that I get to fly on a 787 and an A350. I've never flown on an A350, and I want to experience that. I'm kind of a plane buff, and there's really no difference between the planes. Technically, there is. I just would like to fly. I've flown on an A380. I've flown on a 777. I've flown on a 787 Dreamliner, but I've never flown on a 787-10, which is the big one. Don't know why they're using the big one on this leg, but they are. So I'm getting to fly that. So there was like 3 different flights. One of them was actually with Scoot, which I will never fly, from Cebu to Singapore. And I said, no, not flying that, because there's no business class. They just give you like a premium economy, and you have to pay the same amount. And I'm just like, forget it. And it worked out with the time zones and the flight times and everything like that. I landed at a reasonable hour. I like landing between 11 and 1, because that gives you time to clear the airport and arrive at your location in the afternoon. If you're at a hotel or whatever, it's check-in time. Usually check-in time is 2 or 3 p.m. So that gives you time to get there, and you've flown all day. I'm actually flying the night before with layover in Singapore for 3 or 4 hours. Lady Sarah's flying direct, 4-hour flight the next day. She lands 12 hours after me. So after I land, go back to the airport that night to pick her up. But the other thing is, I use ChatGPT to figure out how many planes are landing at the same time I am. I've got none. She's got 5, all from Korea. It's gonna be hilarious to pick her up. I'm not gonna bother for like an hour. Getting to the airport an hour after she lands. I usually get there when the airplane lands and then wait. No, not this time. Although I'll probably go early because I'm super excited to see her. It's been 8 months since I've seen her. That's a long time. We usually see each other less than that. But this time it's been a long time because of the holiday. Anyway, this year, we were supposed to meet in May, but those plans fell through. Didn't work out. Anyway, today I wanted to talk about retirement scams, or things that you guys should be watching for. Some of the big ones. Can you tell me any that you know? Do you guys have any? I know you guys watch after the fact because I see it. I see you guys watching through the analytics, so I really appreciate you watching. Please comment, click the like button, share, comment, subscribe. Only subscribe if you're actually interested in this content. Please don't subscribe just for the sake of subscribing, because I don't want you to unsubscribe later on. Only subscribe if you're purely, truly interested in the content, and then participate as part of the community. That is all I can ask for. I don't want people subscribing just for the sake of subscribing. Only subscribe if you're interested. And I truly appreciate the new channel. The analytics are incredible. I'm really appreciative of everyone who's watching. All of my new subscribers are commenting. Absolutely love. It's predominantly older male in Western speaking country, but I do have my ladies, and thank you so much for commenting. I see you out there. I comment, I reply, and I'm just overly appreciative. So retirement scams fall into a couple of categories. They don't fall into categories. They just fall into this as like trying to help you. trying to help you, but kind of scammy. And then the second one is just outright just trying to steal your money because they think you're gullible. And let's talk about the first one. It's like, I don't want to say scam, but it's targeting retirees, and that is immigration and visa. So brokers. And again, please, I'm not saying all are bad. I've dealt with brokers, visa brokers. And if you find the right one, which I did through YouTube, they're great. They are a convenience. But paying someone to get you your visa without you researching first the steps to get the visa is where you might run into trouble. If you're doing it from outside the country, big red flag. Now, I've never had to do that because I'm a Canadian citizen, so traveling on my passport is very easy. And one of the things I absolutely am thankful for, I'm blessed, and I am just, I don't know how I could survive if I didn't have a Canadian passport. If I only had a Sri Lankan passport, there's no way, well, I wouldn't have lived in Canada, but if I had lost my Canadian citizenship, there's just no way I would have been able to survive. I mean, that's a whole different story. Anyway, I've never had to worry about visas or immigration or anything like that. I just use a visa broker just because I don't want to line up at the bureaucracy. Where I lived in Cebu, it was difficult to get to the immigration office. When I lived in Clark in Subic Bay, it was difficult to get to the immigration office. So I just went to the local broker and they did it for me. I paid a little bit extra. In Cebu, when I go, I'm going to do it myself because I'll have the time and I'll have the transportation because I'm renting a motorcycle, and I want you guys to come along. Now, I will go to visa brokers and show you a visa broker who was recommended to me. Maybe I'll use them once just to show what the cost is. But yeah, dealing with a immigration broker or immigration consultant. And I gave advice to someone about, there was another couple who, let me see if I can find their, I'm sorry, I don't have my browser open to my page. There was a couple who were thinking of emigrating to Sri Lanka. He was 51, she was 47. They said they were too young for the retirement visa. Now, again, because I'm a citizen, I don't have to worry about visas in Sri Lanka. And because I'm a Canadian citizen and I'm not looking for a retirement visa, I haven't educated myself on the costs and the processes of visas in Southeast Asia. And someone else asked me about doing visa videos, and I don't mind doing a visa video, but the problem is within 3 months it's stale. It doesn't apply anymore because the laws have changed, the rules have changed. They change so much, so often. And then there's the other problem is that how many different stories do I do for each individual situation? Retirement visa, okay, for me is great. I can do a story about me, but then what about kids? Do I do one for kids? Do I do one for the different countries that you're coming from? Because there's different rules. There's different, it just goes on and on and on and on and on. And then once I do a video like that and spend all the time researching and doing it all, and then they change the law, that video is garbage. I have to actually take it down because the information is not pertinent anymore, and it could cause people confusion. So what I say is, let's use ChatGPT, Google, and our own personal research to find out the information and then share that on something like this, where we can come out and say, you know, has anyone ever experienced this? Now, again, I'm a citizen. I don't have to think about visas. I don't have to think about things like that, because they ask, you know, there's something about where they can buy property and then they can get a visa, an immigration visa or retirement visa if they buy property, but they can only buy over the 4th floor of a condo or something like that. I'm like, yeah, again, I didn't have to go through that process. I'm a citizen. I acquired my citizenship through birthright. I reacquired my citizenship about 7 years ago. My parents reacquired it about 20 years ago. So the laws are always changing. They change in Thailand like every freaking year. It's just ridiculous. Korea, even Korea, the rules change all the time. Every 6 months, the rules are changing. And that's one of the things I hate about retirement is the visas. Always getting stressed out over the visa. And the slightest worry that if you commit any or are involved in any kind of altercation or any kind of so tired, always tired, any kind of issue that could get you involved with the police could lead you to being deported. There's always that fear in the back of your head, you know. Not that you're going to commit a crime, but there's sometimes where something happens, right? And I got into potential trouble a couple times in Korea, but because I knew people and I had resources, I didn't get away with it, but it got taken care of. Maybe I'll talk about that one day. It's nothing serious, just I adopted a cat, and two cats. One cat died, the other one I gave away. And then the organization who I adopted the cats from kept harassing me because they wanted to know the cat was safe. And I just ignored them because I didn't have the cat anymore. And then they sued me. I took it to a lawyer and they were like, "This is over a cat?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And they said, "A cat? An expensive cat?" "No, I go a street cat, a rescue cat." And they're like, "Yeah, it's going to cost you more to retain us than it is to pay that fine." So I don't want to pay the fine. Not the fine, but they sued me for $5,000 or the return of the cats. And I said, they said, "Do you have any assets in Korea?" And I'm like, "No." "Are you a citizen?" Or no. He says, "Ignore it." I did. I ignored it. I can't remember the word. Anyway, just, you know, you worry about things like that, right? It's like anything that goes against you in a country where you're not a citizen can get you deported, and all your investment of time and money is out the window. So you always worry about that. Well, I worry about that. So should you. So as I get into living in the Philippines, it's a long time, 5 months. I'm going to have a lot of content on, there's going to be a series on the negatives, like the horror stories, and how you can avoid them, how you can protect yourself and defend yourself before you ever go down that road. There are so many stories, right? So many stories. Whether you're single, whether you're married, whether you have kids, don't have kids, or whatever, there are horror stories out there, and we're going to touch base on them because I think it's important for us in the retirement community and the people who are planning on retiring to be aware, because this is all new to us. Have you been retired before? No, this is all new. It's new to me. but I see what's happening because I watch YouTube. I hear the stories. I have the friends. I have the people. I'm out here and I see these things and I'm like, damn, that's effed up. What other scams are run on you? Well, and that's what we're going to talk. You know, the horror stories that I hear is the romance scam. You know, you if you're single, you get online and you talk to these younger ladies who are interested in you for whatever reason. Could be legitimate, could be not. And you start texting and chatting and, oh, I love you, and oh, you know, can't wait for you to come. You know, I'm just waiting for you to come and join me in whatever city I'm in. And oh yeah, you know, how are you today? Oh, you know, my mother is sick. I have to go to the hospital today. Oh no, what's wrong? Yeah, you know, the bills are piling up and everything, and it's really hard. Oh, let me send you some money. You know, yeah. You know, part of being alive is being sick, and hospital bills are part of that. And whether or not you are there, those bills are going to get paid. You know, so paying for some other man's children, that's just not, I don't know who does that. That's a whole different story. There are human beings out there who are lonely and gullible and believe that money can buy you love. And unfortunately, it's a very sad world. It's a sad, sad world. I'm not saying everyone out there is out to take your money for whatever reason or anything like that, but I've never done it. I've been asked. Say, nope, not interested. Immediately delete right after that. Not interested in talking to you anymore. Yeah, you know, I've talked to women online before because when I go to a country, I want to make friends with people. And the first step is to try to gauge the, you know, the mood of the people, the opportunities of where can I go? What insights can I get from the locals, right? So if you're not going to answer me, delete. If you don't reply, delete. If your sentences are too short, delete. So, yeah, but not interested. I think what we're all searching for is happiness, health, mental, financial, spiritual stability, all of those things that we've always talked about on this channel and previous channel. We've talked about those things, and it's sad that it's a sad world that there are people out there who are willing to try to take advantage of that desire to try to take our money from us to help fulfill that void. So there's nothing I can say that will prevent you from falling into some of these traps other than this. If it looks too good to be true, it is 100% too good to be true. There's no way a 56-year-old, slightly overweight, balding, gray-haired old guy like me has any chance with a 22-year-old in Southeast Asia. Absolutely no chance whatsoever. So don't believe the hype. Okay? I was fortunate enough when I lived in South Korea. I dated some very attractive younger women when I was in my 50s. I dated a former model who was in her 30s. I dated younger women in their mid to late 20s. But that was because I ran one of the largest nightclubs in Korea. I got to meet those people. There's no way they were interested in me. It was more about the power and the money. Well, yeah, some of them were. Some of them were. I'm not going to say no. My ex from Kazakhstan, she was interested in me. Just that we met at the wrong time. But you have to look at life after 50 through rose-colored glasses. That you are the prize, not the other way around, right? And I'm going to talk, this is specifically to the single guys, okay? Not you, Darren. You're in a unique situation. You're financially stable. You've got a loving family and a wonderful wife. You got it, you know? You just need to get a Sri Lankan citizenship. You're going to have a comment about that. I know you're going to have a comment about that. I'm wondering why you don't get your citizenship or permanent residence or naturalization or something like that. I'm surprised you don't even speak Sinhalese. To the single guys out there, you are the prize. Okay, I'm talking to you. You guys are the prize. We are. What does that mean? Well, governments want us. Locals want us. Tourist companies want us. Landlords want us. Women want us because we have money. That's not to say that they want to take it from us or steal it from us. We're going to spend our money. They're just all interested in us spending it with them. So what you have to do is you have to go into it knowing that you are the prize, not the other way around. So you need to negotiate and you need to set terms on your terms. And if you're not happy, if it's not checking all the boxes, you need to walk away. Because the thing about Southeast Asia is there's always another town, there's always another house, there's always another condo, there's always another city, there's always another country, and there's always another girl. Okay? 70% of the world's population is in Southeast Asia. So please don't fall for one apartment, one landlord, one government, one city, one country, one girl. Don't do it. Don't get trapped. It's awful. I'm going to wrap things up a little early today. It is going to be a long day today. So much to do. But I do want to thank everyone who watches, who likes, who comments, who shares. You guys are really killing it now. I mean, like the channel is, where are we with the channel? Let's take a quick look. I think I hit some milestones this week. So according to the analytics, let's take a look. So we are at 63 subscribers and over 120 hours of views. Like the views just are shooting up. $3,400 views in 7 days. That's ridiculous. 121 hours in the last 2 weeks. 3 weeks now. 3 weeks. That's just fantastic numbers for a brand new channel. You know, with this few subscribers. You know, this goes to show you how many real subscribers I had on the other channel. Because everybody on the other channel knows about the new channel. And how many have come over? About 30 of you. From the original channel, only about 30 people have joined. The other 90 people who have joined new. And they say, I found your channel, I like it. Oh my God, it's so inspiring when every time I see that. So, you know, 6,000 views since the beginning of the channel just happened yesterday. 6,000 views in 3 weeks. It's 2,000 views a week. That's incredible. That's really good. So let's keep it going. I'm so happy with that. I'm very happy with the direction of the channel. I foresee it reaching its goal by October, November of monetization. You know, 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 hours. I'll talk a little bit about analytics in a video in October or November. Probably in November, I'll talk about analytics. Because those are interesting observations. And I do observe them because I need to know who's watching and why you're watching so that I can build content. Because as I said, I'm going to move towards full-time in November. And to be full-time, I need to be more aware of what you guys want. So, yeah. Be good to each other, please. Just be kind to each other. Be happy with each other. Be considerate. Be caring. And remember, we're not strangers. We're just friends who haven't met yet. Okay? And learn to live life. Can you see that? Yeah, there we go. Learn to live life. Don't let life live you. Okay? I'm Sri Lankan Sammi, retire in Southeast Asia. Wishing you guys just a wonderful, wonderful day. Please enjoy it. Take a moment and look around and smile. And think about the happy things in your life to make you smile. Every time I think about Cebu and meeting Lady Sarah and my friends, it just instant smile on my face. I get so happy and so joyous. It's just incredible. Getting on an airplane, flying, enjoying Singapore Airlines. Book the cook. I forgot to Darren to tell you is I get to book the cook. I get to choose Michelin star chef prepared meal. So I'm having lobster and steak on the trip there. On the trip back, I booked that about a month before I depart. So not until January will I book that. And then my silk route, gonna do that. That'll be fun. But I'm going to enjoy this week. It's going to be really exciting to start packing, to start organizing my stuff. But I want to say thanks again, guys. It's always a pleasure to hang out and chat with you. And we'll see you all on the other side.